there are two tasks, political tasks, that we simply have to do. And we must restore the government in Stormont, in Northern Ireland, and I promise to work with you on our shared objective there. And, of course, we must get Brexit done, because the UK must come out on October the 31st, by October the 31st, or else I fear that permanent damage will be done in the UK to trust in our democratic system. And I know that Brexit was not, to be perfectly frank, a problem, a conundrum that Ireland wished for. And I think there are certainly questions that we need to resolve. And there are three basic questions that we have to answer for the sake of our collective peace of mind. Can we ensure that we continue to have unchecked movement at the border of goods and people, and indeed cattle? And I think the answer is yes. And as someone who went to the border several times before the Good Friday Agreement and shuddered to see watchtowers on UK soil, I can say now, as I've said many times before, the UK will never, ever institute checks at the border. And I hope our friends in the EU would say the same. Can we uphold the Belfast Good Friday Agreement in all its particulars? And again, I say the answer is yes. And our commitment in the UK to the peace process is unshakable. Can we protect the economic unity of the island of Ireland and the gains that Ireland has won through its membership of the EU single market? And again, I think the answer is yes. And I think we can achieve these things while allowing the UK to withdraw whole and entire from the EU. And of course, I acknowledge the complexities involved and the symbolism and the sensitivities evoked by the very concept of a border. But strip away the politics, and at the core of each problem, you find practical issues that can be resolved with sufficient energy and a spirit of compromise. Indeed, the current treaty must logically envisage that the problems can be solved, or the present protocol would never have been called a backstop. So I have one message that I want to land with you today, Leo, and that is that I want to find a deal. I want to get a deal. Like you, I've looked carefully at no deal. I've assessed its consequences, both for our country and yours. And yes, of course, we could do it. The UK could certainly get through it. But be in no doubt that outcome would be a failure of statecraft for which we would all be responsible. And so, for the sake of business, of farmers, and for millions of ordinary people who are now counting on us to use our imagination and creativity to get this done, I want you to know I would overwhelmingly prefer to find an agreement.